uh, Matthew chapter 24 is where we'll be. That Matthew 24 talks about the end times, and I don't know. We'll try to get as far as through it as we can, but there's 51 verses, and so it's talking about the end times. Matthew 24. All right, Matthew 24, verse 1 says, And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him, for to show him the building of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us then what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So let's stop right there and talk about that. He's went out and uh, he'd gone up in the Mount of Olives, and disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us what these things shall be. What shall be the sign of thy coming of the end of the world? So they're asking a question that of something that it didn't affect them in their lifetime, but it's recorded here for you and I to read, because though we may pass away before the end of the world, folks, we're living in the last days. People probably get tired of hearing me say that, but that's the truth. I truly believe we're living in the last days. Will we be gone before it happens? Maybe. Will it happen in our lifetime? Maybe. There's a good possibility of both ways.
The temple was destroyed, I think, in 70 AD.
Yeah. Now, was that the last temple?
Very possibly. I don't know for sure.
You know, we talk about that. One of the signs, and we'll get into that in a little while, but one of the signs is the rebuilding of the temple. Well, they've done got plans for the rebuilding of the temple. They done got the blueprints, and there's signs and banners hanging over in Jerusalem saying talking about the rebuilding of the temple. Now it's in a different language, but that's what they say that the signs are saying, talking about the rebuilding of the temple. That's another sign of the Lord's soon return.
Um, in the news one night this week, I think it's maybe Monday night, I saw it. There was strikes. Israel was striking. I think it was Israel striking Qatar, QATAR.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my friends Keith and Louise that live in Monticello, Kentucky. Their oldest daughter, lives there. So
In Qatar.
Yeah, pray for her.
He tells us here, and Jesus answered to them, Take heed, man, that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. There's been a lot of people throughout the years come and say, I am Jesus Christ. But Jesus says, let no man deceive you. There's people right now on this earth claiming to be Jesus Christ. I seen a special on TV. It's been a couple of years ago. There's this cult. I believe they're out in Arizona or something. And this guy claims he's Jesus Christ, and he has all these followers, and they live out in a little compound in the desert. And it's
when are they gonna drink the Kool-Aid?
Yeah. There's those groups that did that, and I remember that David Koresh that had a cult down in Waco, Texas. And there's been all kinds of that through the years. But he said there will be many come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
That's just like between Israel and Russia and Ukraine and.
We're seeing it. There's people talking about wars going to happen. The Russia and Ukraine war has been going on. That when they attacked Israel back last year, and it's for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places.
Well, there was an earthquake in Afghanistan just recently.
There's been in Tennessee. There's been earthquakes. There was one in Russia that they was afraid was going to cause a tsunami that would affect Hawaii and Alaska. And folks, all this ties in. There's people out there that says, "Oh, that there's always been earthquakes." Yeah, there has been earthquakes, but they're more frequent. They're just in not. What does that mean in diverse places? That you different places than you ever expect. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. All these are just the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill. Now, that's the part a lot of people don't like to talk about. Afflictions, tribulations, persecutions, all these things. And it says, and they shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. There's people out there that hate the Christian faith. The man that died today, Charlie Kirk, he stood for Jesus Christ. I'm sure they arrested somebody, and then they decided that guy wasn't the killer, and they're still, last I heard before I come to church, they were still looking for the killer, but
They got somebody else in custody.
they got somebody else now. But that person probably hated that he stood on Christian principles, conservatism, and all the things he stood for. And he was probably most known for his conservatism, but he was a Christian, and he was very bold about his Christianity. He talked about it many. I watched several videos, and I'm sure that played into him getting killed today. But he says, "You should be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Verse 13 is probably one of my favorite verses. He that shall endure and go through all these things, if we'll stay faithful unto Christ, if we'll, through all the, we see all these things going on, hatreds and false prophets and deceiving of many, and iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. What's iniquity? What's the sin? Iniquity, sin of many shall abound, because sin shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Sin now, it's the immorality of people is what's so bad.
Yeah.
And the racism, that's bad.
And you know, we use social media to help spread the gospel.
Right.
But I'll be honest with you, I wish social media had never been invented. I have no control over that, though. We know it's here, and it's here to stay, unless somebody shuts it down. But social media is one of the most places you'll see hatred spewed. People get behind that keyboard and type mean, hateful. Some of the stuff you see on the internet, somebody make a comment about Christianity or something, some of the comments people leave, some of the most just vile stuff you'll ever see in your life. And it's, but if they had to say it to their face, they wouldn't say it to their face. But it's easy to do it behind the keyboard, get on there and spew that hatred and do. And the devil knows that, and he uses that. And uh, but and because in sin shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. That means those that maybe was in the faith or love of many shall wax. They're going to back away. There's people going to leave, and Bible talks about that, the great falling away in the last days. But my favorite verse, there's hope for us that endure. He that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. Whatever it is, until the end, the same shall be saved.
I think this is talking about a lot about the years of tribulation.
Right.
Enduring till the end in the tribulation, I think. We're not going to be here to see the worst.
Right.
We're going to see some, but we're not going to see the worst.
We'll not see the great tribulation, but there's a lot. This scripture, what we've read down through these 13 verses, there's a lot to be said for endurance, because it tells us right there there's going to have to be endurance for us to make it. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Well, think about this. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world, for the gospel's still going out. There's still people being saved. There's still, over here on one side, you've got a great revival going on. There's multiple people being saved. And then over here on the other side, you've got the wickedness of the world just growing and the wickedness getting worse and worse. There's both sides of it. But it says the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. You think that internet right there that we are on every week ain't part of what it talks about going to all the world? I remember during COVID, Sister Cindy Walker was over in India. She watched us. If we'd have told the people that started this church 100-something years ago, if you'd went back 50 years ago, 40 years ago, and said, one day we'll have church services here and people in India will watch it, or somebody in another state will watch it, they'd have said, you're crazy. You've lost your mind. But it happens and them services are there, and they remain there. Now, Facebook is set up, used to, they stayed on there. Facebook just lets them stay on there 30 days now. But we record on YouTube too. You can go back. We've got about 4 or 5 years worth of services on YouTube that people can watch. And and you go back and look, there's several services. I've seen it. You can, I'll go back a week later lots of times and look. Maybe not on YouTube, we don't get as many views. But on the Facebook, I've seen up to 600-700 views of a service. Now, does that mean they watched the whole service? No, but they seen part of it anyways. They got a part of the gospel. So, and some of them is watching the whole service. And when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. So, we just got through studying Daniel. It says, therefore you shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Stand ye in the holy place. That means crawl closer to God. Get in there. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him that is which on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. So we see here it says it's just telling us to be watching, to be ready, and to be drawing closer to the Lord. Verse 21. Now this is talking about the great tribulation, the 7 years. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh shaved. But for the elect's sakes, those days shall be shortened. So, and except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. So, now I've heard great debate on this about during the Great Tribulation. Okay, the 144,000 we know will come to Christ because that's prophesied over in the book of Revelations.
That's from the nation of Israel.
Yeah. When that says here, no flesh should be saved, is that talking about the rest of the world other than those 144,000?
No, I think there's going to be some Gentiles saved during the Great Tribulation too.
I've heard discussions on it both ways. To say I know, I don't know. There's people who say yes, there will be some. There's a verse, and I'm not sure where it's at, but I think it's over in Revelations. It says a number that couldn't be numbered, talking about the 144,000 plus a number. And then some people take this, there should be no flesh saved. So I do know that when the church leaves, I believe the Holy Spirit that indwells, that God uses to draw people, it leaves also. It goes back with the church. So, okay. I don't think there'll be church. Even if there is people that went to church and they played church, they wasn't truly saved, and they get left behind, and they come to their realization, hey, we should have been serious about it. We should have got saved. They may come down to a building, but they ain't gonna be no preaching. There ain't gonna be no people coming into church and hearing. It's gonna be a time, just like it said up there, there shall be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. It's gonna be a time like never before. Any comments? Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so as much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Talking about those that are saved. He says there's going to be people pop up and have signs and great wonders, and if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So, he's going to split the eastern sky, according to that verse right there. Excuse me. It says, so as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And there shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Any comments on all this? Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know the summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. Now, the this generation, it says here, shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. I've heard a lot of people say that that verse is talking about when Israel became a nation in 1948. And they say a generation is 70 to 80 years, somewhere in that ballpark. Well, at 1948, we're coming up on 80 years really quick. We're about 3 years from it. And it could go longer than that now, but it says a lot of people are saying that that generation that was around in 1948 when the Israel became a nation, that's what that shall not pass away till all these things be fulfilled. Any comments? Verse 36 here, before we read it. This is something, there was somebody saying the Lord's going to come back in September. They've done got a date picked out sometime later in the month. I think somewhere in the 20s. There's some guy, and there's been a few people I've seen on TV started selling their stuff. This happens every few years. I remember there was a guy back in 1988 made a big push. He even wrote a book called 88 Reasons Why Christ is Coming in 1988. Well, we see where we're at today. And but remember this right here. When you see these people giving a certain date, got to be ready on this date. It's happening this date. Read verse 36 of Matthew 24. But of the day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So that tells us if they, this is these false teachers and prophets that are coming out. Oh, he's coming back. He may come back someday on a day when somebody predicted that day. But you know what? It won't be because they predicted it. It'll be because the Lord said, this is it. We're done. Because no man, it says, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. There's this bluegrass song I really like called Gabriel's got his, said Gabriel's done got the trumpet. It's saying Gabriel's done got the trumpet up to his mouth ready to blow. We're that close. But even Gabriel that's going to blow the trumpet don't know when. But I know he probably knows it's close too. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of Son of Man be. The days of Noah. What happened in the days of Noah? The world was destroyed except for Noah, his family, and the animals that were saved on the ark. For as in the days as it were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of Son of Man be. Noah was up there building that ark, preaching, and they was laughing and mocking him. They was marrying, giving him marriage. They was having a big old time. Now, they say the earth was different back then. There was an atmosphere around the earth. If you broke an arm, it healed in a day or two. People lived longer. There was things different. But something I find interesting, some of these people that study this out, some of these Christian scientists, archaeologists, whatever, a lot of them think maybe they didn't have the technology like we have as far as electronics, but they say they feel like maybe those people had technology way farther than it was back. Like the flood happened and the technology got washed away and it was like it started over again. They said with the things they were doing, the sins, there was some kind of technology. They may not have electronics and all those things, but they felt like there was because you have all these monuments that are built that they think may have been there before the flood, that well, they don't understand how they built it, the pyramids and different things. So then two shall be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, and one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doeth come. It don't matter how many times somebody say, we're going to do something on this date, and you say, oh, can't do it, I got this going on, we're, as humans, we make excuses, or we got plans, we got this, I can't be there, I've got to be here, there ain't going to be none of that when the Lord comes back. He don't care if you're driving down the road. They made a movie, it was called Left Behind, had Kirk Cameron in it, made back in the early 2000s, and it was just a depiction of what they think the last day, like when the Lord comes back. Now, it wasn't completely true, I think, to the Bible, but it was pretty close. But I remember in the movie there was people flying, and there was pilots that was gone as Christians. People on the plane disappeared. People driving cars. There was car crashes everywhere because people was driving. They was gone. Cars crashed out, and you had people working side by side, and one gone, one left. And I thought about this right here. Talks about that. One shall be taken, and two women shall be grinding at the mill. One shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for you know what that tells me. If you have a job, or if you have, maybe you're in school, maybe you're retired, but there's people that you're around on a daily basis a lot. We need to be praying and trying to get them to come to the Lord if they don't know the Lord, so that you're not standing there having a conversation with them. You're not sitting on the couch with them. You're not working with them, and then you're gone and they're not. I don't want nobody to be left behind. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known when what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not suffered his house to be broken up. If they told you in 10 minutes there's going to be a thief down there at your house, but you can stop him if you're there waiting with your gun, you'd run out that door right now and go load your gun up. You wouldn't be sitting here. But you know what? People put off getting saved. People put off. It says, if he'd known the good man in the house, known what watched the thief would have come, he would have watched but not suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore, verse 34, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man come. He's saying, we don't know when a thief's going to come. We don't know when the Lord's going to come. Be ready. Be ready.
We can apply that to death. We don't know when the person's going to die.
No, not at all. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, he shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. But, and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat, to drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Of course, that's talking about hell. And it says, when he comes, and he shall not be looking for him, and the hour he is not aware of, he shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So we know where the hypocrite's going to be. So, any comments? This pretty long chapter, but it's very, very relevant to what is going on today.
Except for the wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes and all that kind of stuff, some of this other stuff is going to happen during the tribulation period, and then at the end, it's the coming of the Lord.
Yeah. But we're seeing all that stuff, wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes, that's all happening right now. Right as we speak, people being killed for their stand with Christ. We seen that today. But I always go back to that verse 13. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So, anybody else got any comments? All right. If not, I'll ask Mom to come to piano. Psalter's open tonight if you need to pray.